The Arctic winds blew hard against the scientist's face. Dr. Kloss turned back to his assistant and yelled out, "Are you okay?" He couldn't make out his assistant's face, but slowly came back a nod as he waved Dr. Kloss onwards. It was day 3, and only half of the original party remained now. 2 had been killed when that idiot Martin had yelled at them that the object in the sky had changed direction. The yell had triggered an avalanche and taken 2 researchers with it. He remembered turning back and seeing their bodies tumbling down the rockface in a shower of snow and rock. Dr. Mason had perished a day later. The combination of hypothermia and lack of sleep had apparently driven her mad during the night. We tried to catch her, but she disappeared into the darkness, completely naked and laughing like a crazy person. We tried to stop her husband, but he got away from us. We didn't see either of them again. Today, I bring you Euclid class object SCP-2395, $585.98. Don't forget to subscribe. All that remained was the 4 of us now, and it didn't look like Dr. Sandhouse was going to make it another day. His face was wind-beaten and dry, eyes blurry, and he was responding slower and slower. We weren't that high up, but I believe he was suffering from hypoxia. Still, there wasn't much we could do about it. The path back was partially collapsed, and our only hope for survival was to push on to the other side. Damn that thing in the sky. It had killed new and old friends alike. What the hell was it? A dark, ominous shadow blotting out the sun? Alien warship on final descent? We'd find out, one way or another. We took the risk that night and lit a fire. The fear of another avalanche was on all our minds. But considering the look of Dr. Sandhouse, we took that risk. For such a cold and windy night, I slept remarkably well. Upon awaking, it appeared Dr. Sandhouse had slept well too. Too well. He wouldn't rouse, and the blue of his face revealed what we had expected. We made a small makeshift tombstone, packed up our belongings, and continued on. The sky still dark and blotted out by that thing. We shortly reached level ground again, and could now see the shadow in the sky more clearly. It waved and danced in an abnormal fashion. Martin pointed out that it was waving east-west, but the wind was blowing west-east. I disregarded the comment, but he was right. It was blowing against the wind. It changed direction and even stopped, seemingly randomly, against the laws of physics. My assistant yelled out that he could make out a house in the distance. It appeared to be less than half a kilometer away from the base of the shadow object, now designated SCP-2395. We proceeded towards the house, SCP-2395-A. We reached the shack shortly after and cautiously investigated. It appeared to be inhabited by a female, but she did not reply to any of our attempts at communication. We called out to her, banged on the door, even threatened her. Nothing. But the chimney was alight and we had seen her silhouette moving behind the windows. We slept outside the house and on the next day attempted to force our way in. For whatever reason, we found the shack to be impenetrable. We tried for another day and night, and when we finally were ready to give up and move back to the shadow, we heard a sound coming from the door. It sounded like cutting, when suddenly the tip of a small handsaw popped through the wood of the door. It proceeded to cut a rectangular shape in the door, the approximate size of a mail slot. A letter popped out to our surprise. It read, "Fine, write down questions and I'll get to them in my own downtime. So, if you would prefer I pass notes like this, rather than converse, all I'd like to do is ask a few questions regarding your environment and role. Would this be fine? Less than 10 words or else you're wasting my time. Could you explain why you're here? It's freaking cold all day and I have work. What kind of work? I'm waiting for purchase offers. The price isn't set in stone, but this is kind of a minimum we have to offer to make a profit. So you're working for an organization? You blind or something? Name's on the door. Can you explain the shadow's movement? Already said I'm trying to make a sale here. What exactly are you selling? Earth. Please elaborate. Earth, planet, Terra Nova, blue ball of life, flesh cesspool, etc., etc. That doesn't explain the shadow's movement. Well, you know when you pick up a stick with a dying leaf on it? Or when you pick up something at a store with a price tag attached to it and inspect it a bit, and the price tag might flop around a bit? And you might grab the price tag to get a look at the price? Now imagine something else looking at that price tag. Actually, scratch that, since you can't. You getting it now? We're selling the Earth, and I'm busy speaking to willing buyers. It was at this point that it dawned on Kloss. The object wasn't an alien ship or a looming shadow of doom. It was a price tag. A price tag for Earth. SCP-2395 is a giant price tag located at 82 degrees, 8 minutes, 2.1 seconds south, 16 degrees, 59 minutes, 5.5 seconds west in Antarctica. Observing aerial drones have recorded SCP-2395 to have the price of $585.98. SCP-2395 is tied to a small rebar loop embedded in the ground by a 0.7 meter length of twine. SCP-2395's dimensions are 258 meters by 90 meters in length and width. A 2.5 meter layer of polyethylene covers the paper, inscribed with SCP-2395's price. If this wasn't strange enough, SCP-2395 seems to be unaffected by wind conditions, and instead pretty much does whatever it wants. Sometimes it blows directly into the wind. Other times, it spins repeatedly for indefinite amounts of time. Crazy. 0.3 kilometers east of SCP-2395 is SCP-2395-A. It's a shack. Just a shack. A shack with what seems to be some odd humanoid female within. She isn't very friendly. At all. The door to this shack is labeled LCE. This lady, SCP-2395-B, doesn't respond to the Foundation's request to speak. Or to mine. We have, however, heard her talking to others. Quite rude, if you ask me. Observation Post 44 is to maintain communication and support from Area 30 while continuing surveillance of SCP-2395 and SCP-2395-A. A precautionary 250-meter radius zone around SCP-2395 has been established, which Observation Post 44 will continue to monitor for any notable movement or activity. Further information from SCP-2395-A's occupant has been deemed unlikely following communication with Dr. Mill. I hope you enjoyed this SCP. Not all SCPs have to be dark, gruesome, or terrifying. Sometimes even the most mundane objects have a story to share. The next time you're out shopping and get a rude shock from a price tag, remember, you never know who or what else might be looking to purchase that item. It might just be the steal of the century. As always, have a care and remember to subscribe, like, and share, if you would. Until next time, farewell.